Presenter today. Today we are going to have a very interesting topic to talk about, extremely interesting. It's one of the topics that actually I really love addressing, especially when it comes to the people I meet on a day-to-day basis. And we are going to talk about our hearts. And remember, anytime we come here and we are learning, we are not talking because we are sick. We are not here to treat sick people. We are here to understand how to maintain our own health and the health of the people around us. And then we learn how to, even those already who are having challenges, then we can be able to learn how we can support them. And the interesting topic is on the area of the heart. I love the fact that in your life, we learn from head to toe. We learn about the systems, all the body systems. We learn about how to prevent disease. And for those of us who could be having challenges, how to maintain that. My name is Gladys Njura. By training, I'm a teacher. Then I found myself in the banking industry. And while I was there, I remember while I was in the bank, I used to buy a lot of the health books from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They have super books on health and wellness. And I just found myself buying them and going through them, not quite understanding much. Until 5 years into my banking career, I was invited to a Neolife business meeting. I was looking at getting an opportunity where I would earn some additional income. And then in the process, I learned that there was health in it. My second meeting, I was treated to a health talk. I remember my first teacher was Dorothy Nyong'o, and she was so meticulously training us about how we need to maintain our health. And from that moment on, I knew that I really needed to take care of my health and that of my children. I'm a mother. My firstborn is 31, my secondborn is 25. But I must say, when I came into the opportunity, there were little kids. And as a young mother, in the modern society, I was making all the wrong choices, especially when it comes to the feeding habit, the feeding habits. And so there I was, not knowing how to go about anything until that day. And I made a conscious decision that I would have to change their life and my life and that of my parents and the people around us. We have very many testimonies about our health being improved in the family, very many. But let me go straight to the topic that has brought us here, which is heart health. We know that all of us know that the day your heart stops, that's the end of you. For whatever reason, the day your heart stops, that's the end of you. But even before it stops, if it is affected, you imagine what happens. Many people live taking painkillers, you know. All along, they are taking painkillers and things are just not right. And so for me, I was like, you know what? I want to make sure that my life is I can do the best I can. And I hope we can do the same for all of you. So welcome to this presentation. And we know that our health is our greatest wealth. If you want to make money in the world, if you want to have a good life, the best thing that you ever need to have is your health first. Okay? And so when we come to look at our health, we are saying that, you know what? I'm trying to make it behave in the slideshows. I don't know. Okay. Few challenges here. Anyway, let me just proceed as I'm proceeding until I get somebody to help me on this. Okay. I don't know. Just a minute, guys. I don't know what happened to my presentation. I'm trying to look for it. Mm. Gee. Anyway, let's proceed. Even as I try to check what is happening with my presentation. Mm. Just a minute to ask for help. Just a minute. Okay, I'll proceed as I try to get it on one screen. So anyway, let's go. In the world today, we are having lots of challenges. And one of the challenges is the heart disease, respiratory diseases, stroke, diabetes, cancer. All those things are really, really challenging us. And you find that at the end of the day, people are taking a lot of medication. That one I can tell you for sure. People are taking a lot of medication, and in that way, you find that the World Health Organization is saying that they're actually losing the battle. Way back in 1920, way back they had said by 2010 and 2020, which has already passed, these diseases would increase, especially in Africa, Eastern and Southern Asia. But you know what? I love our business because our company says we have good news. We do have the solution. And that solution we were given by God. And it's a solution where we know that prevention is better than cure. We can prevent. How can we prevent? One, weight management. We all need to protect our weight, to make sure that our weight is at its best, the BMI. We need to be active, physical activities, be sure we are active, we are doing the right things. And then we need to eat a diet rich in whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and fish. And let me tell you, even when you're talking to anyone who is unwell, the first thing they need to fix is always their diet. The first thing that people need to fix is their diet. Very, very, very important. And once they do that, they start seeing the change. But anyhow, let's move on and go straight to our topic. When we talk about heart disease, we are talking about several reasons why people have heart disease and what happens in the system of the heart. It could be angina. Angina is where, because of the blood pressure being the blood pressure being so bad in the body, your heart enlarges. And when your heart enlarges, you always have a lot of pain on your chest, the left-hand side where your heart is. There are challenges like lots of cholesterol. Cholesterol is not bad in its nature, it's good. But when it builds up excessively, uncontrolled along your arteries, it actually will cause a lot of problems. it will cause a lot of buildup of the plaguing, the arteries. There will be a lot of buildup. There will be obstruction of the blood flow. There will be sometimes, because of that, clots can happen. And so you find a situation called atherosclerosis. We have so many other challenges that people get strokes, people get hypertension, people get heart attack. And just like you can see there, right there on our screens, you can see those challenges where you're living a normal life, you're eating well, you're exercising, you're doing the right things. And so the arteries are clean and clear and the blood flow is at its best. But over time, you find that the plaguing starts happening, you know, and there's oxidation also happening in the body. We need to learn all these words: oxidation, inflammation, all those things, they come into play. And they start affecting your artery, you know, and cholesterol starts piling up. And as the days go by, the fatty deposits become more and more until there's sometimes even a total blockage. Like in this case, a clot has actually blocked the movement of the blood. And when that happens in the brain, you actually get a stroke. When that happens along the heart area, you actually get a heart attack. And so all those challenges, they happen for us. And we are being told we need to be careful. So even things like high blood pressure, you know, where the blood vessels are being overworked, the heart is being overworked, the arteries are, even sometimes they become rigid because you're not feeding them with the right kind of nutrition. So you find all those things, they come into play. And we, as human beings, we are very ignorant, even in understanding what is the right blood pressure, the normal blood pressure for a normal person. So that even when you go to be checked, you know the index of the high and the low and what that means for each one of us. So I want you today, I'm giving you homework to go and understand for your age, what is the most ideal blood pressure, the high and the low index. And every now and then you keep checking, and so that you know that you're on the right track. And if it is high on the upper index, what should you do? If it's low on the lower index, what should you do? Because ignorance is the one that causes these things to pile, and eventually we are sick. I mentioned about angina, where there's that tightness of the chest, you know, and you feel like there's pressure, there's heaviness, there's tightness, there is pain. And many people actually ignore that. And they think, it's something I can work on. I can take a painkiller. But the underlying factor remains. So sometimes even when we are taking medication, the underlying factors of the medication, they still remain. We talked about the stroke, where the clot comes to the brain, and whichever part of the brain is affected, whether it's the left or the right, you actually damage that part of the side, and eventually it affects you. There are some areas where even your speech is affected completely. You can't speak, you can't walk well. You have to go through a lot of therapy for the body to come back to the right sense. And we also need to know the symptoms. What are the symptoms that you could likely be having a heart attack or a stroke, where you're feeling one side of your body is not behaving well, and you keep ignoring that? And even then, preventing that to happen. So it is very, very important. I hear people saying, oh, I have numbness on my fingers, I have numbness on my leg, I'm feeling funny on one side of my face. I know a friend who actually went to a cafeteria to take tea. And as they were taking tea, their one side of the face had already moved. And when they put the cup to take tea, the tea was pouring because the mouth had gone to one side because they were getting a stroke and they were not even aware. So those are things we need to know so that we can be able to perfect our health and to keep working on it, to understand how clots come into being. You know, when you have clots, it's a very dangerous situation. And there are those things, the do's and the don'ts, and we need to work on them. So in a nutshell, we want to talk about the solutions. for both prevention and for managing. So one of the best solutions you can have so that you have a good heart health is good diet. What is good diet? I'm going to look at that in a few. Exercise. I know this is one of the hardest things that people go through. And you find that eventually, when somebody is pushed to the corner, you can only think about going to the gym. But you don't have to get there. You can have good exercise away from the gym. You know, you can deliberately make sure that you walk a lot. And the things that you need to do to keep your body active, you can exercise from the house. You can exercise if you drive a car. You can decide, you know what, I'll be parking my car at a certain area and then I walk back. Or if I'm in the office, I'll be taking the stairs. Or if I have a lunchtime break, I'll take 15 minutes to actually do a walk. Whatever it takes to make sure that you're having an active life, please do it. The other thing is managing your weight. You know, when it comes to managing your weight, we need to check our BMI. Your BMI means your body mass index. And that is the correlation between the height that God gave you and the weight your body should carry, given that height. We all can't carry the same weight. If you're short, you need to be very careful about the weight you put in. Those people who are a bit tall, sometimes they ignore that because they are tall and they cannot see the weight on them. So those are all things that we all need to weigh. Because people who are a bit tall, they are able to carry more weight. And unconsciously, they may be thinking they are okay because they are tall, but deep down, they are not okay. Another factor to check is diabetes. You know, diabetes and heart disease are twins. They are like sisters or brothers. One can trigger another, or both of them can actually be in the body at the same time. So we need to make sure that if you're diabetic, you need to make sure that that doesn't spiral down to heart disease, and vice versa. If you're smoking, we are always told avoid smoking, because you know the smoke that you take in will always affect your body organs. And that effect could even trigger your heart health. And you know, heart depends a lot on the oxygen we take in. You know, it's the one that oxygenates the heart. The circulatory system is the one that oxygenates every part of your body. Do you want to take in things that can be taken to the body that are harmful for you and over a long period of time? It will definitely be a problem. Then, of course, we need to know that we have gaps in our diet. There are those, the terminologies I'll be mentioning, there are those particular vitamins and minerals that are very critical to maintain your heart health. When you hear things like the carotenoids, the carotene are very critical for your body. Why? Because they are able to take care of oxidation. Oxidation is a very difficult or dangerous thing in your system. And so the carotenes are able to take care of that. Then we talk about the B vitamins. The B vitamins have elements like the inositol and the choline. The inositol and choline are very vital for heart health, extremely vital for heart health. And more to say, they affect the nerve a lot. So you need to have sufficient B vitamins, because the nerves, the heart, all those things, they work together. They all work together. So the B vitamins are very critical. And remember, B vitamins are water soluble. And that means they need to be replenished as often as possible. Then vitamin E. Vitamin E is very critical for the body, for the heart. Because one, you must keep the body thinned. Your body, not the body, sorry. Your blood needs to stay when it's thin enough to be able to be pumped in and out of the arteries, the veins. You know, that act of it's pumped into the arteries and then the veins bring the same back to the heart. So vitamin E is a very critical component for that. Actually, it's a natural thinner of the blood. Okay. Then there's garlic. Garlic is an antibiotic. Remember, even the circulatory system could have pathogens that can affect it. And it's also very critical for the heart health. I wish you can read more about it. How about calcium, magnesium, and D3? Calcium, magnesium, and D3 are very critical because when your heart beats, or even when you have a movement in the body like this, calcium is needed. But when you retrieve it back, the beating requires a lot of calcium when the heart beats. When it comes down, receiving the blood coming from everywhere, it comes down, then it needs enough magnesium. And those two must double up. And remember, the heart is a muscle, and calcium is very needed for the muscle. So when you don't have enough calcium, your heart in itself is not strong enough for the pumping of the blood on a daily, hourly, minute basis. So that's also a very critical element for the circulatory system. Then there's coenzyme 10. Coenzyme 10 is very critical because we all went to school and we learned some bit of biology. And would hear the teacher talk about something called mitochondria. And it was quite a heavy word for us. But that simply means it's the place where the body gives energy in the cell, where energy is produced in the cell, right at the mitochondria. If the mitochondria is not receiving enough enzymes and the foods required, then the body doesn't have power and it loses its power. And that alone can affect all the body systems, including the heart health. And of course, now the amino acids for building and repair, so that you have lean muscle, you don't have too much fatty deposits in your body, because we've seen the fatty deposits are not good for you, especially if you have weight. So the amino acids, the correct ones, are very important for giving us lean muscles and making sure that even the fatty deposits are not maintained in the heart. So in a nutshell, I've been introducing you to what we do in Your Life. And in Your Life, our mission is to make the world a healthier and a happier place. This is an institution that was established in California in 1958, and its sole business was to help people prevent the degenerative diseases, as they were called those days. Today, they are lifestyle or NCDs, non-communicable diseases. So Your Life, when it was formed, this is the founder of the company. He's a very God-fearing man. He himself has a story of being unwell since he was a child. He was very asthmatic, and the asthma was taking him down until his mom was introduced to natural remedies, as I was mentioning to you. The things we know in terms of the foods, the vitamins, the minerals, the proper proteins, good whole grains, for good reasons. And when the mom was introduced into that, what was a nightmare in their home became very, very good. And eventually he got healed. And as he got into his early 20s, at the age of 19 going to 20, he decided this is what he'll do for the rest of his life. He has partnered over the years with scientists who are very credible. I would wish you go and Google search more about the Scientific Advisory Board members. These are people who are very, very credible. Neolife as a company doesn't tell them what to do. They are the ones that tell Neolife what to do. Because in their own fields, they are very respected. Some of them are Nobel Prize winners, and they know what is good for the body, what is good for the environment, what is good for the skin. And so anything that is around the human being, they have come together and formulated things. And even the lessons we are teaching right now, most of them originate from the Scientific Advisory Board. And they are always publishing their work, and they are very respected in the medical field. So let's look at the diet, because we said, you know what? We need to know how to prevent. We all know that prevention is better than cure. And so when it comes to diet, there are many factors that affect our diet. I'll mention 3, but there are several others that may not be on the screen with us today. We talked about exercise. 2 to 3 times a week, 20 minutes plus, 30 minutes. Please do that. I would want you to go and read the importance of exercise. Go to Google, Mr. Google. Just search the importance of exercise, write down those points, and see whether your body can benefit from the points that are put down. Because if you don't partner in understanding why you need to do something, you will never be partners in your own rescue. Have you ever tried to rescue somebody and they don't want to be rescued? Someone is drowning, they're refusing to be rescued, they'll drown. And if possible, they'll drown you with them. And so we all must participate in our own rescue. So we need to understand, why is exercise important? It will help depression go. It will help stress go. It will help weight go. You manage, even if it doesn't go completely, you're able to manage your weight to a certain good level of your body mass index. It will keep your muscles strong. It will keep your heart strong. There are so many benefits. Because even in depression and all those kind of things, stress, all the things we are talking about, the heart, they'll come following you up. So exercise is very critical. How about rest? It's also very important to go and Google search, what is the importance of rest? Participate in that. What's the importance of rest? And if I don't rest the required 6 to 8 hours a day, what happens? Let me tell you, the minute you start understanding these things, then you are helping us and helping the world to become a healthier and a happier place. Okay, before I go to diet, there are a few other factors like taking enough water. We need water, and not just any water you find. You know, Kenyans are a very peculiar lot. They go buying water from anywhere. You find water being sold in the street, you just buy and take. Let me tell you, you might be buying yourself some wrong things. You need to know what is the best way to take good water and what are the best brands of water you need to take. Of course, and filtering water and so many of those things. Water is life. Water is very needed for the heart health and circulatory system. And we all need a minimum of 2 liters per day. For men, they need much more than that. They could even need 3. They are larger, they perspire more. Most men do more strenuous jobs. So we need a lot of water, and taken at the right time. There are the right times when we need to take water per se. And I'm not talking about other drinks. Yes, of course, the other drinks contribute to you being hydrated and everything. But if you can, at least make sure the 2 liters are coming from pure water. And then, of course, there's the issue of having a good mind frame. You know, there are many people who are given bad news like this. And in the process of having bad news, they get a heart attack. They get wanashtuka roho. So you must have a good frame of mind and to be able to take care of stress and to have people around you that can make sure that you're living a happy life. There's nothing as good as living a blissful, happy life. And that comes from the people around you. Then let me go to diet. 95% of people, according to the scientists, they are deliberately eating foods that lack nutrition. Can you imagine? 95. We could be part of that. We are definitely part of that 95. But you can get out of that. Then 75% actually are consuming substances that are harmful to our health. Excessive medication. Because if you're in medication, a lot of it, you cannot say you're doing well. Why did you get there in the first place? Things are not good. And already you are sick and you are doing excessive medication. That's not good for you. Excessive alcohol, smoking, too much fat, too much sugar, excess salt, all those excesses are not good for us. And sometimes we ignore them and then they come and bite us in a very big way. So I talked about weight. We all need to know our BMI. As a layman, your BMI should be your weight, probably in meters, divide by your height. Your weight in kgs, sorry, divide by your height in meters squared. That's not a complicated calculation to do once you get the hang of it. And as you can see, a normal BMI should be between 18.5 to 24.5. It's not cast in stone, but this is just a good indication. When you look at the index, it should be there. The minute it goes to 25, 29, you're overweight. And we need to know where we are. It's important. Upambanange na hali yako ukijua wewe uko wapi. Then, of course, there's the issue of people who are obese and those who are clinically obese and those who are morbid obese. But at the same time, you should not be underweight. because being underweight is equally bad. So those are indicators that we need to check. And for me, in fact, because of this reminder, I'll try and get to know my BMI at this point. Mine is usually 21, 22. It's good to know so that you know, am I doing well on that area? And then you check all the other areas. How am I doing on all those areas? Now, according to the World Health Organization, the United States Department of Agriculture, the National Cancer Institute, our own government, the Ministry of Health, all the proper health institutions, they tell us we need to eat whole grains, adequate and sufficient whole grains. A whole grain is something that when you removed it from the farm, you eat it the way it is. I mean, in terms of if it is maize, after you remove the top part of the maize that covers it and the cob, that maize as it is should not be sifted, should be eaten the way it is. If it is rice, the same. If it is wheat, the same. If it is spaghetti, it should be from those sources where there is no sifting and grading, you know, for it to be removed some parts. Because when God gave us the grains, he knew the reason why he gave it as whole. And every continent has those whole grains. Then fruits and vegetables, we need plenty and plenty of fruits and vegetables. In fact, we are always challenged to take between 6 to 15 servings of fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. When you look at that picture, there are fruits that people don't even know. And in this case, we are talking about carotenoids, 3 servings per day. You can write that word. You can go and Google search and read more about it. Carotenoids. We are talking about flavonoids. We are talking about cruciferous. On a ratio of 3 to 1, 3 carotenoids minimum, 2 flavonoids minimum, 1 cruciferous minimum. When you actually look at it, we hardly balance those. And especially mostly the flavonoids and the cruciferous. We are not doing well on that area. And all of them are required for heart health and general health from head to toe. So it's important to understand that. And for those who say, oh, I'm diabetic, I'm not supposed to eat certain types of fruits, work on the diabetes so that you can eat as much as you can. That should be the point. Work on it, regulate it, find ways, talk to the person who invited you, take a journey of 2 to 3 months, 4 months with them, get back to normal. Then you eat as much as you can in fruits and vegetables. Don't give excuses. And then when it comes to whole grains, we are supposed to eat a lot of whole grains, especially the one from the ground. Any proteins that come from the ground, whether they are nuts and the legumes and the lentils, all those, they are very good because they make the body alkaline. And when the body is alkaline, inflammation and acidity are put at bay. Inflammation and acidity are very critical things why people get unhealthy. When it comes now to the animal protein, the best are white meats. White meat, which should be done ile kienyeji style. Wild fish, kuku kienyeji, vis-a-vis the others we are fond of eating today. Please, if you have children, don't be fond of giving them the chicken that is being fastened. You'll be giving them a lot of hormones that can give them a lot of challenges in the future. Don't love your children to the point of exposing them to foods that are not good. And then when it comes to the other animal proteins, we need to use them sparingly. Eat meat, it's good, but do it sparingly. Take milk, not too much. And all the other animal proteins, go and look the parameters of how much you can do for each, but increase more of the plant proteins and the white meat. And then anything that has fats and sugar and refined starch should be very little. Sweets and cakes, oils, fats, margarines, mayonnaises, all those things have a lot of unhealthy fats and oils. And now refined food falls in that category. And all the drinks, most of the drinks we take, unless they are coming from pure juices of the fruits and the vegetables, then there is a problem there. Now we've inverted this pyramid upside down, and you find that we are eating a lot of the things we've been told not to take. And we are giving our children a lot of this, which is and ourselves too, which is very dangerous. And too much of the animal proteins we are talking about, very little of the fruits and veggies. And then, of course, we are not doing enough whole grains as we should. Now, unaona, these two, the fats and sugars and a lot of animal protein, this is one of the biggest culprits of the heart health disorders. So we need to be very careful, and especially even a pregnant woman, you know. So I want to give you the basic solutions for new life. And why supplementation? You know, the world has changed. Farming is completely compromised. And that is a fact we can't dispute. A long time ago, we used to farm where we would leave some land to heal, and it would heal, then you come back to till it. And you'd also do something called crop rotation. You rotate the crops so that each crop can bring in different vitamins and minerals as you keep rotating them. People don't do mulching anymore. People don't use manure anymore from the cows and the goats, and even the weeds that come from the farm. There's a way they can be treated and they are taken back to the farm as manure. We don't do that anymore. And we are farming with fertilizer on a daily basis. And our soils are almost 50% and more devoid of the vitamins and minerals the body needs to maintain. And that's where now supplementation comes in. Supplementation is not substituting of food. Remember our eating habits? We need to eat well. But remember, even as we try to eat well, we are not getting the very best from these things. Even the animals we are eating, zero grace, they don't go wild. You know the way they go wild and they have lean meat, less fat, they are zero grace. And they are given a lot of antibiotics and a lot of many shenanigans while they are being zero graced. And because of those challenges, we are not getting the fighting power for our bodies. And so you find that there's something called TNN. TNN means oils from whole grains. The germ part of the oil, that germ, the place that actually germinates when you plant a seed, that place that germinates, that is where the biggest #1 nutrition of your cells are. Remember, even in the heart health, your circulatory system is made up of cells. We have the platelets, we have the red blood cells, and the lymphatic system supports the circulatory system. And so your cells must be at their best. And for them to be at their best, the cell membrane of every cell must be lubricated enough with the oils from the whole grains on a daily basis to allow the permeability of nutrition in and the waste to go out, so that you have a healthy circulatory system. When it comes to fish oil, we definitely know that fish oil and the research done is correlated to proper heart health. Very important for the heart, you know. So it balances the oils in the body and the cells in the body. It's good for maintaining the proper cholesterol and removing the unnecessary cholesterol. And so salmon fish oil, omega salmon, I did not just say any other fish oil or cod liver, no. Salmon oil is rated as the highest oils for your circulatory system and even the other systems of the body. Now, let me talk about Lipotropic, which I'm very passionate about. What happens for people to have a lot of heart challenges? We are eating a lot of diet, which is high in sugar and high in refined starch. When you do that, there's an enzyme in the body called homocysteine. Homocysteine should stay at a certain index level in the body. But when you eat highly sugared food and refined foods and too much oil, the homocysteine goes up beyond the normal. When it goes up beyond the normal, it starts puncturing your arteries. Those arteries you see and the veins, they are punctured. And when that happens, the brain has to instruct the body to look for cholesterol wherever it is, to come and plaster that. It's like having a crack on the wall. So when the body looks for cholesterol from wherever it comes to plaster, and again you eat badly, the same thing keeps happening. So what will that means is that now the plaguing starts taking over, and it becomes excessive, and the blood itself also becomes has fatty deposits. It becomes heavy to push. It has fatty deposits. There are those lumps we've seen all over, and that's how some of them break to become actually clots. Okay, so lipotropic is a very important aspect of our heart health. It's made from the B vitamins and highly concentrated with the choline and the inositol I talked about earlier, because of the B vitamins required to maintain the hearts. So this is the basic heart health, and it's for you and me. Please don't wait when the doctor says, you know what, your pressure is going up. You start with this on a basic level. And even if you're having heart issues, this is a good place to begin. And I can tell you, within the next 3, 4, 5 months, the doctor will be very happy with your progress. And they will ask you, what are you doing? You just tell them, Doc, I've started eating better and taking care of my health better. So as I mentioned, TRINN will take care of your cell membrane. It will repair the damage of the many cells that are damaged in your body, and it will help the body to improve utilization of other minerals. We've seen that we need calcium, we need magnesium, we need D3, we need coenzyme 10, we need vitamin C for the elasticity of the arteries and the veins and the muscles in the heart. They need elasticity for proper contraction and expansion. So the more you get a lot of nutrition because you're taking care of yourself, that becomes the basic. So we all need to start there with the TRINN. Then, of course, we've talked about the lipotropic. And as I've told you, it will help with the mobilization and utilization and emulsifying of the bad fats in the blood. So it will balance the oils and the fats that should be on your arteries to their proper place, and it will maintain your homocysteine at the levels that are required to be maintained in the body. So this one, I can tell you, is one of my best sellers, and we need it. Please don't wait to be told, you know, you should. No. Lipotropic is very, very important. And we all can start with this even as a family. You can buy a tin and use it as a family for preventive measure or reversing of what could be a challenge. The other thing is the omega. We know it's very vital for brain development. And we've seen that it's very good for the heart. Very, very good for the heart and the nervous system. And the beauty with this, it has zero tolerance of any deposits of the metals. You know, most fishes are from places that have very bad metals, and it will reduce inflammation, because inflammation is part of the reasons the blood challenge, the circulatory system continues to get challenged. Now let's go to the advanced heart solution. If somebody already has a heart challenge and they're on medication on a daily basis, remember, medication is taken over a long period, could give you very bad side effects. Or if your heart, the pressure is always up, not coming down, it will be a challenge for you as well. And we've seen that heart disease can spiral to even diabetes, high sugars. So we need to make sure that we work on it. If you know somebody who has high blood pressure, now you just don't give the basic TRINN, salmon, and omega. That's where you add. Remember when we were beginning, I talked about the carotenoids, talked about the garlic, talked about vitamin E. That pack is completely very safe. In the next 4 months, you will be singing hallelujah all the way. I can tell you that one for a fact. I would want somebody to go and do it and come here and give us a testimony that it sure worked for them or their father or their mother or even their customer who has been struggling with erratic heart disease. But remember, you must teach them to change their diet. They must, because bottom line is, it's a total lifestyle change for you to be able to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Not everybody will be able to continue with the supplementation 100%. Those who understand know how to alternate them over time. And so what will keep you going when you're back to normal is your healthy lifestyle, eating right, exercising, resting, and all that. So I'm super excited to tell you that your health is your prerogative. It's not your doctor's prerogative. It is your prerogative. And as you can see in this apple, we were told when we were young, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It just did not mean apple. Apple was a representation of healthy eating, or even fruits of good color. That's what that saying is all about. So when we talk about that, you can see the words there: organic, vitamins, exercise, smile. Can you imagine fresh air, going green, good food, balancing, being slim, you know, trying to be younger for longer, weight loss, fruits, nutrition. Those are words that should be very, very close to your heart. Fitness, you know, all those things, they should be very, very close to your heart. So I want to thank you very much, the 113 who have maintained up to this point. And I want to encourage you and tell you, you know what, guys? God intended for us to be healthy. And for that to work, he gave us food of many forms. He gave us vitamins. We all know all the vitamins, the water soluble, the oil soluble.